Hello, everyone, and welcome to our weekly discussion series that's hosted by the Chaldean Cultural Center in collaboration with U of M Detroit Center, Unique Voices in Films, and CMN TV. I'm your host, I'm Nemu, and today we have a very special guest, Reverend Dr. Karam Shamasha. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So Dr. Shamasha serves as a professor of moral theology at various institutions, including the Pontifical Urbaniana University in Rome and the Babel College of Theology in Iraq. His pastoral roles have included assignments as a parish priest in Telskuf and in Nineveh Plains. So you have been involved in numerous humanitarian efforts where you volunteer in different Christian Iraqi communities around the diaspora. But before we go into the details of that information, so if you can tell us about your background, where you were born, and how you got involved in this work as in theology and pastoral work.
Yeah, for sure. First of all, I would like to thank Chaldean Cultural Center and all of you that you are working in this important, it's something very important for us to have a center who is focusing on our culture and our history. For me, is a pleasure to be with you and an honor for me to be with you. And for me, I am Father Karam, as you said. I born and I grew up in Nineveh Plain, in Telskuf, and Telskuf, and all this area of Nineveh Plain. And I studied the school there. Then I went to Baghdad to study in the seminary of Baghdad, Chaldean Catholic Seminary in Baghdad. Because of the war and there was a lot of problem in 2005, we were obliged to transfer to Erbil in Kurdistan of Iraq. Then I studied there and I became priest in 2011. Then in 2014, when ISIS came to our conquest our village, I went to continue my study in Rome. Then I stayed there for six years. I get PhD in moral theology and some other studies. And then I came back to homeland to serve my people and my church here. So now I'm teaching and I am also serving the community in Telesco. Yes.
So you are in Iraq right now?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So let's go back to the experience. I was researching you, and so I didn't know. So you were in Iraq when ISIS attacked. If you can tell us a little bit about that, and because we have viewers that are both English, fluent in English, and some that are fluent in Arabic and don't completely understand English, so please feel comfortable if you want to switch, and then that way everybody can understand what you're sharing, but especially the experience of what happened during the time when ISIS attacked. Like, where were you and what happened to the people? What was the response? And if you can just share this very important aspect with us, especially because I'm not sure if I've shared this with you. I've shared this with our audience. The Chaldean Museum is moving, and we are going to we have currently 5 galleries. We are adding a genocide gallery to our museum. And so this story is very important. We feel like it's underrepresented. Very few people have continued, even though it only happened 10 years ago, it wasn't like that much of a history. So if you can share a little bit about that, I'd really appreciate it.
Sure. I was in Teleskov as a parish priest in August 2014. Also before 6 August 2014, the ISIS they began in Mosul, as all we know. They started conquesting or occupying occupying all Nineveh. Then they started moving forward our towns. In the beginning, in June 2014, all the Christian of Mosul they came toward us, and we offered for them refugee. Like we opened the church, we opened all our houses for them, and then in like in the beginning of August, they started moving toward us. So in that time, we had to choose what we have to do with this terrorist. So thanks to God, we in Telskuf, for example, we had more than 1,000 for 450 families in the town, and in Tilkev, there was more than 200 families, 250 families. In Batnaya, same, and all we were obliged to leave our towns without like in very fastly because they were moving very fast toward us. Then we all left and we left uh, in all that we had like I will switch a little bit in Arabic. So in when وصلوا عندما وصلوا الدواعش لمناطقنا بالتأكيد كانت فترة كلش صعبة. لذلك كان أكو وقت قصير حتى نقرر شنو لازم نسوي. فلذلك كان أكو بالبداية بدأت بالموصل في بداية شهر السادس. بدأوا يحتلوا الموصل. كل أهالي الموصل المسيحيين إجوا لعندنا، اختبرناهم، فتحنا لهم بيوتنا وكنائسنا. بعدين بشهر الثامن بدأوا يجون يعني من ناحيتنا الدواعش. لذلك كان لازم أنه إحنا أيضا نقرر إذا ردنا نبقى مسيحيين وما نغير ديانتنا أو ما نعوف المسيح. كان لازم أنه إحنا نعوف كل شيء ونطلع إلى كردستان. لذلك قررنا أنه نروح كل واحد على المناطق القريبة من عنده، وإلى أن وصلنا إلى بر الأمان في دهوك في قرازاق وإلى آخره. Then, ورا سنتين ونص, after 2 years and a half, we were able to return to our towns and to our homes in Telskuf. But Naya, for example, was all like 80% was destroyed. Our many houses in my town, Teleskop, was destroyed in Kiev. Unfortunately, till now, there is few people that they were returned to Turkey because many Christians they left their homes a long time. Then they didn't get back because the situation for the Christian is not very stable, and that it was.
So what you're saying is, since that time, what has changed since that time? How much has been rebuilt? Where have the Christians right now, where are they mostly concentrated in Iraq? And what does that situation look like for them?
The Christian today, the most of Chaldean Christian were now located in Ankawa, in the Hawk, in some of them in Zaho, and in the Nineveh Plain, like our village, Teleskov, Atnaya, Al-Kosh. We have families till now. There is about 3,000, 3,500 families about. We still there. And if we talk about the Syriac Catholic Church, they are concentrated in Karakosh. They have a lot of Christian there. And as you know, there was a very sad tragedy story when the the fire on the wedding in Baghdad. No? So many of Christian also they decided after that to leave. So we are concentrated in Nineveh Plain, and the majority we are in Kawa, Erbil.
Um, you talk about the the importance of interreligious dialogue, and from your studies, the importance of that. How can this help us make a difference? And for us to use interfaith dialogue and communication in order to that would something that would lead to action, so that it's not just communication. And I got to tell you, so recently we had a holy pilgrimage where Father Samim was emphasizing during Mass the importance of communication. And I was so happy to hear that, because I majored in communication, not really understanding like where's the next step. I was planning to be a lawyer, and I didn't go into that path. I became a writer, but I thought, what was the significance of getting a degree in communication? And then as I got older, I saw, wow, like you can actually make a difference in your relationship with your spouse, with your children, with, and it's an ongoing thing that we have to work on. It's not just overnight or one sitting. But on a bigger scale, when I see this with regards to religion, for instance, sometimes it seems like we're hitting walls. What, in your opinion, how can it make a difference, and how can we participate each as individuals to help utilize our communication to make that difference in the world, and to help change it from just a conversation into action?
In fact, the word's communication is very important for the interreligious studies or for all the interreligious dialogue. To know to communicate, to know how to communicate with the other, I think it's the key that we can like to communicate, which it's mean to take or to put yourself in front of the other. So for us, we should promote this dialogue as a church. Also, many times the church, in many of his teaching, speak about the interreligious dialogue, because it's our mission to have this peace, to promote the peace, understanding, cooperation between all the communities by building trust, countering extremism, and fostering reconciliation. For sure, the dialogue, interreligious dialogue, prevent tension and violence by encouraging respect and empathy. For us, it's very important to always to talk with the others, and not just to, because in many times we find a lot of conferences, a lot of meetings, but the important, I think, is, as we all know, is not just to say the things and provide the things. It's how to, as you said, as you mentioned, how to make these words in act, how to act with the others. We had, for example, in Iraq, always we hear many beautiful words. You are a rose, you are flower of this country, you are the peace. How they said, it's you are the peacemaker of this country. But in fact, nobody look to us, or nobody do anything to us to make us feel like real, in fact, people or citizen, real citizen of this country. So also interreligious dialogue. If we hear a lot of things, but we have to communicate in the reality, to have this word in act, not just in saying.
Yeah, that's very strong. And the act is part of the communication, is when you develop your humanitarian work is part of the communication, because you're communicating to me what you're all about. If you were just to talk about it and I never see anything, 1 year, 2 year passes, nothing is done, at some point I'm going to realize that what you're saying is not authentic. You're just making this up. You know how to say the right words. And there does need to be a lot of work for our community. So, really, I mean, thank you so much for all that you do. But it does need to be brought to the forefront. I have shared several times a story that last year I attended the director of the UN for against genocide in the Arab world. It was a person who was at London College. It was online that I attended it, and an hour and 15 minutes later, and this person is talking about the genocide against Shia and against a little bit about Yazidis, but mostly about the Shia. Not a word about Christianity, not a word. And so I posed the question, why wasn't this brought up? And this is available. It was recorded. It's online. And so this is when it hit me that we have to take stronger action to bring awareness to our community and to also correct and advocate for wrong information. Being excluded from books or being excluded from the story or being excluded from the genocide story, this, although it seems it might be impossible, but by large organizations, really it's a detrimental to our community. And so while you guys are working very, very hard, some of the narrative that's going on, it's incorrect. And so part of this opportunity, the virtual discussion, is to bring it forward. So again, we really appreciate what you do. So if you can tell us what's the situation for the Christian Iraqis around the world that you have seen, those that are in diaspora, have they kind of got a good footing where they are? We had some of our relatives visit. They just arrived from Denmark yesterday. They seemed pretty, they've settled in. It was hard. They were telling us about the hardship in the beginning, but they seem to have settled in. We have relatives, all over the world, and it's hard to kind of know what's the situation for them. And are there any more allowed to leave Iraq to go to Western countries, or does that seem that it has like kind of stopped for a while?
Mhm. For sure, the situation are very complicated if we talk about Iraq, inside Iraq, and if we talk about the outside of Iraq. What you are doing, like in your center, is very appreciated because, as you know, in diaspora, it's very easy to our children or to our people to lose their language, to lose their history, to lose any connection with their homeland. The church, like as you mentioned, in Europe, we like in the major countries we have church, and all the church they play till now in our language, and they make some language from the country, from the country that they are living in. But the majority they celebrate the mass, all the prayers in our language. And a few days ago, I saw also online that our church in Michigan, where you are, they started also teaching Chaldean. They started teaching in the church. So for sure, it's not easy for our people to be always always connected with us. But I will tell you that a reality that we touched the nearest of or what they call it قرب يعني. Our people are very close to us here in homeland because I'm collaborating with many organizations in the United States, for example, and they help a lot our poor here in Iraq, and they are donating a lot of support to our people here to start. Like for example, in my church, I have projects for the students. They support us. We are helping people that they are needy. So there is projects in San Diego or in Detroit that they are helping the neediest family. So we can say that through the church, we are looking forward to make this relation between the Christians in the homeland and the Christian in diaspora to be connected. So the church is our mother. So we are all connected during the church. for that, like recently, we saw a lot of priests. They bring their communities to visit Iraq, to visit our church. Bishops also from America, they come and they visit our village. So I think this is one of the key that in it we can stay related and to not lose our heritage, to not lose our language, to not lose our our closeness to the church.
So that brings us to the next question that I wanted to ask you about. So we have many Chaldeans that are very eager to learn about their history and heritage. And do you feel that the church involves that aspect of the Chaldean history of the heritage? Do they incorporate it in their programs or teachings, or is it not so? I realize that faith and the teachings of faith and spirituality are at the forefront of what the church does, of course. But how important does it give to the other aspect, which is heritage and the history?
For sure, we all know that the church was the place that where our history are kept, are still kept. So if the church wasn't in that إذا الكنيسة ما كان عندها الإمكانية أنه تحافظ على هذه اللغة وعلى هذا الطقس، ما كان عندنا اليوم هذه الإمكانيات، وما كان، لأنه مثل ما نعرف مثلا لغتنا خسرت كثير، ما أصبحت هي اللغة، خلينا نقول الحية المحكية المقروءة والمسموعة وإلى آخره. فلذلك الكنيسة كانت هي اللي حافظت. The church has conserved our language, has conserved our heritage. So, and we are still working for this mission, because we we evaluate this importance of the heritage and of our, and also of our language. The church is very involved always to teach. For example, I attend sometimes, like first Holy Communion in many churches. They still teach our children how to pray all our hymns in Aramaic. So this is what the church can do. But as ONG or as centers, you can do also help us to keep this spirit of the language and heritage, because we in the church we are doing a lot. So we need also from the other hand to help us to arrive to the people, that because as you know, in the east, a lot of people, we lose a lot of people. Many people, they lost their faith. So it's your mission also to help us to keep this possibility. If we will pray for them to return back to the church, but if they will not return to the church, I think it's your mission to help them to not, because do not lose their language and their heritage, because if they lose their faith, they still they still our sons, and we love them, and we hope that one day from the language they will return back, because the mother, the church is a mother. So we are always waiting our children to come again to our how they say, or heart, or I don't know what they.
And embrace, yes, الحضن, yes.
Yeah.
That feels so nice. You hearing me hearing this, or I'm sure our audience as well. One of our guests that was here a couple of weeks ago, and he was from Australia, and he said that there is أكو شعور، يعني هذا الشعور من يبني واحد الشعور من ناحية إنه هو يعرف هو منه، اعتيادي راح يعني يميل على إذا اللغة، إذا التاريخ، كل الأشياء اللي تخص like your ancestry راح تجي رأسا إذا أنت بس هذا الشعور يبني بيك. So I do think it's very important as well. And and you're right, everybody has to contribute their own way. And we're trying in a way where we started a couple of years ago an Aramaic class. It started with adults, and we were surprised. Like من بدينا ما كنا متصورين، يعني بدأ صف صغير بعدين هسه now عندنا مال أطفال همينة so we have now one that's online one in person for adults one for children وبعد هسه يعني مدرسة صغيرة بس إن شاء الله تكبر and it's exciting for us like it's so rewarding وإن شاء الله من نتحول راح أكو عندنا مجال أكثر نسوي صفوف تختلف وهاي الصفوف راح بعدين نقدر مثلا يكون إنه إذا اللغة أو إذا تكون التاريخ مال Chaldeans and just the different empires just as because what I'm loving is that the youth, they're so interested, they're digging deep into this, right? I always talk about how we do this digital storytelling where we go out and interview people. and like أكثريتهم مثل التراما اللي حسوا من كانوا بالعراق ودا يحاولون يطلعون يعني كل التفكير كان إنه how do we leave Iraq? All the struggle was about leaving, running. You come here, then you're on survival. You're working in a store 7 days a week, and everything is just on a survival mode. And so they were not able to expand this kind of awareness. So thank God, what the hard work that they did is so that their children can have the mental freedom and the physical capacity to be able to pursue these things, right? But sometimes, there's a lot of passion that goes into this. And so I'm going to bring up the subject that often comes up about the different Christian communities that unfortunately sometimes I don't want to say that it separates. I believe dialogue is always good. Even in the debate, you learn. I learn. I watch these online boxing matches and I learn and my mind works and I do more research. So I enjoy it because I rather have that than somebody just not even looking into it, right? But having said that, somebody in your position who works very hard to unite people, to bring harmony, and because you saw firsthand what happened to our communities, right? Like when ISIS attacked, they did not ask, are you Assyrian? Are you Chaldean? Are you Syriac? Are you Yazidi? ISIS targeted whoever did not follow their mentality. And it was also the Muslims that they attacked. They just attacked anybody that doesn't fit into a particular box, right? But one thing I think it's really great that the youth is looking, and it's not just the youth, a lot of people are looking into that history. And maybe it's just where it gets, they forget what unifies us, which is the religion, which is the Aramaic language. How can the church help facilitate a more harmonious process between these different sects, these different communities that have different identities? What advice would you give them? Because they're really all very good people. The one thing I often tell, if wherever you see Chaldean Assyrian communities around the world, you don't see them being harmful to their society. They usually live a decent life, family, faith, working hard. But amongst each other we have this, and we have to address it only because they want to hear something that could help unite us rather than divide us. What advice would you give to them?
For sure, this is one of the issues that always we talk about it whenever we meet with our brothers and our brothers and sisters, like from the Syrian church, because the nearest church for us is the Syrian church as country. Sometimes they say that the people have no problems. The problem is just in the first class, like the leaders of the religious leader. But in fact, I think recently this idea of being from Assyrian people or from the Chaldean people or other ethnics, I believe it exists. But I think recently with the ISIS, what the things that they do against us, we, for example, from my town, a lot of the families went to the Assyrian village, and um, they keep them in there, and they give them houses, and they give them to eat and everything they give them. Also, the Assyrians were that they were like in Mosul or in other places when they came to Ankawa, which is a Chaldean village. So they were all they already have been accepted, sorry, in the church. So we didn't, as you said, not just the ISIS that didn't ask it from which ethnics you are, but also the church. When we are all together, when we escaped from the ISIS, we were everywhere. We didn't ask from where you are and from which church you are, from which ethnics you are. We accept all of them, and we were accepted by the others. So I think we have to look uh, more positively about our situation, like as a people, as a Christians from different ethnics, because when we have problems, we are all united. So we have to think not to be just united when we have problems, but we should be united in many other situations. For example, today in the government or in the state, we have to be united. We have to have like one voice, one persons that they love to serve our people from wherever they came from, or whatever ethnic that they believe in. So we need that. They say that the leaders are the problem, but I think many times the politics are the problem. And thanks to God, our youth are not like this, I think, because we saw a lot of youth that they are getting married, Chaldean getting married with Assyrian, Assyrian getting married with Chaldeans. So I think in the future, I look positively to the future of our people, because the new generations are not thinking as we are thinking, as our fathers and as we are thinking many times, because we are grow up in a situation when the Saddam Hussein when he gone when in 2003, uh, after 2003, all the ethnic they looked to find some identity. So they all were all they were fighting to to demonstrate their identity. Like Italian, they were saying that we are here and we have to be like mentioned in the constitution. The same thing as the other ethnics did. So in the beginning, it was we should do like this because, as you know, there was many problems of the constitution and many other problems in the government, we can say. But I think our future is going to be more brightful, more positive.
Yeah, it's good to hear you say that. Yeah, because I was going to ask, what is your vision for that? And obviously, based on what you're saying and the work that you're doing, the whole point and what drives us is that we're doing something positive for the community, for the world in large, too, because uh, again, our community, it's just something, there's so many unique things, aspects about it, but we do contribute. We contribute wherever we go. And I just want to address one last thing because I know this is another thing that comes up that I notice is, from my understanding and from what I've read, is that the Kurdish region and the Kurdistan has been instrumental in helping, especially after what happened to ISIS. And I know that sometimes, as with every, if you go to ancient times, empires and every countries and any people or community that had issues in the past, but that doesn't define what's happening today, right? So that relationship is very important because, from my understanding and from my understanding about the leaders, even at an event I recently attended by the Chaldean Foundation, is that they are playing an important role in helping our community. Is this correct? I mean, this is from my understanding, is that Kurdistan and why it's important for us, not just with whether it's with the Kurds or other communities, but if you have others collaborating with you, which is, I think it's a weakness in the Middle East in general, that this type of collaboration, and holding grudges from, like, it could be from thousands of years ago and it's still in mind. But how do you feel about that? Like collaborating and not kind of getting too stuck on just, I don't know, the past, I guess I want to say.
I just forget to regarding to the last question, the other question. Like a few days ago, when there was a feast of the cross here in Erbil in Ankawa, there was for the first time in the north of Iraq. There was an invitation from the Archbishop of Erbil. He did like an invitation to the Syrian Church, to the Syriac Catholic and Orthodox Church. For the first time, they celebrate like a festival for all our churches here in Ankawa. So the ecumenical dialogue exists, and we are working together without any problem. Like we have a lot of relations with other churches. So I forgot to mention this. And regarding your last question about the region of Kurdistan, for sure, nobody can say that they didn't accept us. In fact, we all escaped to Kurdistan in those days of ISIS. So we came here in Dahok, Erbil, Zaho, many other places, and they helped us in what they can help. We will not say that there is no problem in many places, many zone in Kurdistan for Christian. There is one that they have problems like or they are losing their lands. Our Christians they are losing their lands because there's people that they came and say and they have power and authority. They said this is our land, so you have to go out. These things also they are happening. We are not saying that everything is good, but in regarding our situation as Christian here in Kurdistan, I think we are living normally as the others, and we have all the possibility to live in to have security, to live in peace. Our chairs are open. There is no problems. Nobody can speak badly about us as a Christian. If we hear like there is someone or some persons or one person that he is preaching against the Christian, we can like go and say to the authorities that this is not acceptable, and they hear to us many times. So the situation in general in all Iraq are, for now, they are good in saying many things, but there is places where we are living good, and there is places where we are in conflict. Because, for example, Nineveh Plain, for now, there is places, there is village are under control of Hashid, of the government, maybe, and the other places are under control, the Kurdistan region. So when there is a problem between these two parts, many times uh, we are like we face some problems. We can say this. And if I remember, there was a question where you are asking me about if we are losing families still now or it's stopped. Unfortunately, we have many families that are leaving till now because because of this situation that there is a conflict from time to time between these two powers, and our zone, our places, our village are in the middle of this conflict. So يسموها المناطق المتنازع عليها. يعني لحد الآن ما مفهومة هي تابعة لمن وإحنا إداريا في كثير من القرى تابعين للحكومة المركزية، أمنيا تابعين لكردستان. بس بصورة عامة يعني نقدر نقول إنه يعني إذا ما كانت موجودة هذه الصراعات بالتأكيد ما في مكان ما في صراعات، بس لو ما كانت موجودة كان وضعنا كثير أحسن. كان أكو كثير من العوائل كانت تبقى ما تهاجر بسبب عدم استقرار الوضع الأمني، عدم استقرار الوضع بصورة عامة، وأيضا لقلة الوظائف. يعني كان أكو قانون بالعراق يقول إذا واحد مسيحي طلع تقاعد أو هاجر مكانه يبقى لواحد مسيحي آخر. هذا ما مطبق بالواقع، هذا فقط على خبر على ورق بكل أسف. قبل فترة كان أكو أسماء ترشحت يعني حتى أنه يأخذون المواقع الفارغة للمسيحيين مثلا هاجروا، بكل أسف تم تغييرها وأعطيت إلى أقليات أخرى. فيعني الوضع كله بصورة عامة ما مستقر. يعني اللي دا نعيش القسم اللي دا يعيشون في كردستان يعني دا يعيشون أيضا بنعمة أمان خلينا نقول. بمناطق أخرى أيضا في أمان، بالموصل اليوم أكو أمان، بس تبقى بعد العقلية يحتاج لها تعب، واحد يتعب عليها، نهتم بتثقيفهم. هو هذا الحوار انه نثقف الاخر عن نفسنا، كوميونيكيشن مع الاخر، نسوي نعرفه منه احنا شنو وضعنا، ليش احنا مو كفره، احنا مو مثل ما دا يفكرون بعد كثير من الاشخاص. فلذلك نحتاج دائما هذا التواصل والكوميونيكيشنز حتى نعيش احنا كل اللي نريده انه نعيش في امان وسلام، ونهتم بعائلتنا ببيتنا بكنيستنا. احنا ما عندنا اطماع نكون اغلبيه ولا نكون فد شيء، نريد نعيش في سلام ويكون عندنا احترام لحقوقنا، نعامل حالنا حال بقيه الفئات، ما يكون اكو تمييز. هذا كل اللي نريده، يعني مو فد شيء صعب.
وشنو هو الدور اللي نقدر إحنا نلعب به إذا بأمريكا، إذا بغير بلدان، إذا الكلدان، إذا الأسيريانز، شنو الدور اللي نقدر نلعب به حتى نقدر نأثر؟ لأن إحنا يعني ما شاء الله مثل يعني عندنا موقف، يعني إذا هي هنا عندنا positions هواية إذا بأمريكا إذا غير مكانات، بس مرات يمكن ما نعرف بالضبط شنو الأشياء اللي تصير. أعرف مرات أسمع من الأشخاص اللي يجون من العراق، بس شنو أنت تنطي يعني recommendation إذا هذول اللي خاصة عندهم قابلية إنه، وحتى أنا اللي ما هاي، شلون نقدر نجيب awareness لهاي المواضيع، وشلون نقدر how can we participate so we can help in the process.
The most important things is awareness, knowing about our stories, and also advocate. Not forget your people here. For example, if we all leave the place, one day our children they will not be able to come and visit their homeland. They will forget everything. واجبكم انتم هناك حتى يعني نحافظ على وجودنا احنا الباقيين هنا، هو انه تسمعون قصصنا، انه تعرفون ايش يصير هنا، انه يكون عندكم كوميونيكيشن هم بالنهايه معنا، حتى نعرف شلون انتم بطرقكم ممكن توصلون صوتنا للناس اللي عندهم قرار برا. نعرف اليوم كل زين انه الاعلام هو اقوى شيء بالعالم اليوم، فانتم تقدرون توصلون صوتنا، لانه اذا احنا نضل وحدنا هنا يعني نصيح ما بدأ يسمعنا، بينما اذا نبقي هذا التواصل بيننا وبينكم انتم الموجودين برا، بالتاكيد هذا راح يكون آه، اهم شيء ممكن تدافعون به عنا، وهو انه تسمعونا، تسمعون صوتنا للاخرين، ما تخلونا وحدنا هنا، لانه اذا خلونا وحدنا اكيد احنا الله ويانا وكلنا، بس يعني نحتاج انه نحس انه اكو ناس اخرين يسندونا، اخواننا، يعني شو ما نقول، نكون قلب واحد، واحد يسند الاخر، يعني نسندكم بما عندنا وانتم تسندونا بما عندكم، حتى نقدر نوصل صوتنا ونقدر ندافع عن وجودنا المسيحي هنا، يعني ما نريد نخسر وجودنا.
Thank you so much. That was so beautiful. You're very inspiring. I really appreciate your time and your wisdom and everything that you said. It's very heartfelt. And I think speaking with individuals such as yourself who is there, that you feed us that kind of energy so that we can continue our work. So thank you and God bless. And if you have any, thank you. Thank you. Thank you everybody for watching and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.